Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. The madness is here. No, we're not talking about basketball. We're talking about the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Luke Stuckmeyer, Prospect High School. Ryan Herrera, Elk Grove High School. Cody Del Mendo,
Boondock High School.
Sangamon Valley High.
That one. And the one and only Danny Rockett, Hersey High School. We have 3 mid-suburban league District 214 students all on one podcast today.
And one guy from the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And one guy from the middle of nowhere.
From the boonies of Illinois.
Yeah.
So excited to have Danny on board, also known on Twitter as San Ranto or Sun Ranto, right?
As long as you are tweeting at me, I don't really care how you pronounce it.
That's right. He's gone from outsider to insider to outsider to insider. He's all with us. And he brought his guitar because he wrote us one of his famous parody songs, which we are going to play later in the show. We'll do a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely.
How you been doing?
We'll plug it in. Good, man. It's just like been busy all winter long. I've been watching this Cubs team kind of get pieced together over it's a whole different situation than it was last year, and I'm just kind of excited to see what we got, going out. So we've been doing the Sun Ranto show and talking all about it every week, and as you guys have, probably talking about the exact same stuff. And I think as Cub fans, it's been interesting to be like, this team might be all right. And then some other days you're like, this team's not very good, is it? And then other days, so I'm just excited for the season to start and, get it out there. But and get winter over with. I'm done. Yeah. It hasn't been so bad. Not a lot of snow, but we're okay. We got through it. We're in March. Couple weeks. 2 weeks from today.
That's it.
Opening day, Wrigley Field.
2 weeks from literally right now.
Right now.
That's right. First pitch.
So yesterday I tweeted, hey, to all the countless season ticket holders who have let me know that if I ever want to buy tickets off them, Danny replied, said, reach out to him if you're ever in need of tickets, because he knows a lot of people, and he's not wrong about that. You do know a lot of people, and you're kind of like I feel like in a way you're just kind of the mayor of Cubs fans that live at Wrigley Field, because
he's the Rocket
I feel
Fuse.
like you go out of your way to try and get to know Cubs fans, not from just Cubs Twitter, but just even ones who are at the ballpark who might not be on social media. You're just kind of like that welcoming guy, and that's how I felt when I first met you, probably a couple years ago. I can't remember, but
somewhere out in the bleachers over a couple beers.
Yeah, definitely.
My guy running around. Yeah.
Right.
Trying to cut down a cup snake somewhere.
Yeah, chopping up some cup snakes, stealing balls from kids. Yeah, we do it all.
Yeah, just it's a vibe that I don't feel like you'd ever really see at for other teams around the league. So that's what kind of what Danny is about is what makes Cubs fandom unique, in my opinion. So it's awesome that you're here, dude.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me here. Me and Luke worked together before, and we've been hanging out in the bleachers a little bit, talking about the Cubs. I love chopping it up with you guys, and so it'll be a good time to just sitting here under the bright lights of CHGO.
Lil Yumper gave us a super chat saying, Danny Rockett. By the way, did I see that the Bleacher Bum Band will be playing on opening day?
Yeah, we're going to be over at Output Wrigleyville, which is it's just a little bit north of the field on Clark Street. We're going to go right after the game. We're hoping Bleacher Jeff stays sober enough to play. That's always the issue on opening day for a lot of people, not just him. And no, it was a lot of fun. Last year, Jody Davis came. It was. You never know who's going to show up because there's everybody's around that day. And no, it's going to be a good rock show. It's free, so we'll probably start. Actually, now that I think of it, post game it might be about 3:30, 3:45 when we start.
Nice
with
early.
the pitch clock and the cold and the rain. So no, it's gonna be awesome. We'll do about an hour set and rock it out, and it's free. And just come on by. They got real good wings there too, so eat those and watch us.
I've never actually been to Output, but but to be honest with you, the only bars that I've gone to north of Wrigley on Clark are Trace, and and Bernie. So those are the only two that I've consistently have gone to. So
yeah, no, Output's cool. They've been real good to us.
Says Yaxie's.
G-Man. There's a lot up there, and I live that way, so I always go that way. So No, that place is really, they've been real good to us. They let us kind of do what we want in there. And that's important to a guy like me. Like, oh, I can do what I want? Oh, sweet. Then I'll be over here. I don't like the rules so much,
Yeah.
Did you guys see the good news that Seiya Suzuki playing a little catch?
All right.
And taking dry swings. Cody, what are dry swings?
Well, I assume they're not wet swings stuck. I mean, that was my first question was what the hell is a dry swing? But I'm glad to see he's swinging the bat.
Yeah. The thing is, like, they still haven't confirmed he's out, but if we're 2 weeks out from opening day and I guess he's barely starting to take dry swings, has he taken them today or he's going to? Whatever the update was, he's taking dry swings. He's taking non-contact swings.
Yeah.
If you expected him to be ready at the start of for opening day, like
obliques are weird too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you
so
can just
tricky.
you can that could just nag, and if you don't wait, you don't get it healed, and then you could be and they rushed it, and you just be right back on the shelf. Well,
that was Nico in 2021. I think he had the strain, and then like was coming back, and then like had tightness or something during a rehab game. Like, he tried to come back and then felt so. I think that's the way it went, with strain, then tightness. But it was like that kept him out for a long part of the 2021 season when, he's as after Javi Baez gets traded, he wants to be the shortstop, and you're losing all that time to see what he's got because of the oblique. And so, tricky. And it's different for everyone.
Doug's taking this too seriously. Yes, a dry swing is one without any balls to hit. That is correct.
Yes.
I was today years old when I heard what a dry swing was.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, this is what happened to me yesterday. A scenario, a little off topic. I apologize. I'm driving home, and you get to that intersection, where you're in the express lanes, and then there's people on the other side, the slow lanes, and you're all merging. But then you've got to get over because the express lanes are ending, or you're going up to Milwaukee. So I'm in line. I got my 15 cars in front of me. I'm just waiting to exit off back onto 90. And there's always a couple cars that want to push it and then want to zoom past everybody and then cut in at the last second.
You may have been seeing me do that.
And I see this Dodge Charger cut me off.
Was it?
Just as I'm thinking, boy, this guy in front of me is a Jag. And then another car goes by, black Dodge Charger, license plate starts with a CV, cuts in front of me, throws up the hand like a wave.
Wait, was that you?
It was me. And I just gave him this. I knew it was him the second he went by.
I saw this, but I didn't know that was him.
First car, I thought, well, this guy's a real jerk. And then I hear the vroom.
Okay, my car
Dodge Charger comes rolling up. I just pulled down my sunglasses and looked like this out the front window. All I get from hi, little wave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all you gotta do. There's people that don't do that. As long as you go,
cars that were waiting in line.
Yeah. You should do that more often. I saw the glasses tip. I didn't see that was you.
It was me.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Now, are you a shoulder guy too?
Like, I actually saw it coming, so I wasn't mad. I wasn't thinking. The first car, I was thinking, man, some people, why does everybody do this? Can't we all just act like human beings and get in line? I understand the cars from out of town that don't know how the road works. But once you've done it once or twice, you realize, well, sooner or later I'm going to have to merge over.
We could have world peace with a zipper merge. If everybody would just understand that you win every other guy.
Yes.
Lucky
for Ryan, I didn't have road rage, and I just let him carry on all the way back to Elk Grove.
Spin zone. This is the good part about living in the city, Danny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
No, I do not.
That's hilarious. I did not realize that was you.
I was behind you literally the whole way home.
You should have said something.
You were Ryan was also doing left lane, right lane, center lane, and I'd still be in the same lane.
He's trying to get away from you.
At least I'm not speeding anymore.
No, he wasn't speeding anymore. By the way, the cops are out.
Ryan Rude Herrera. I like that one.
Rude
I like that one.
He spelled my last name
says,
wrong,
hey, that was me. No, it was not.
Next time Ryan pisses me off on the show, I'm just calling him, all right, Rude Herrera.
Del Cardinal.
Collada probably was the first car. The first car really cut me off. Then I was like, all right, there's going to be 2 or 3 more coming. And then I saw the Shady Rays, actually, was the first thing I noticed. He was driving by with the Shady Rays on. And I was like, oh, that's Ryan. Sure enough.
I did have my Shady Rays on.
So then I got home, and I settled into a little WBC World Baseball Classic last night. And, hey, you wore the nice Puerto Rico hat.
Yeah, man, this is actually from Puerto Rico.
That's nice.
Right outside of Iran Bithorn Stadium. I got to go to the Caribbean World Series a couple years ago
that's
with
cool.
my buddy Jose Orlando, who lives down there. And, man, I know you were watching on TV and seeing that electric kind of atmosphere where people playing all the kibasas and the shakers and everything. And that's what it was like at Iran Bidhorn Stadium, except a smaller stadium, 15,000 maybe fit in there. It's like a Springs training stadium. But man, oh man, is it fun to watch these games? Well, at least the game last night was fun, and so the
game itself
shut it off.
So Edwin Diaz, first of all, grew a lot of extra fans last season with the whole Timmy Trumpet thing, right? Like we played Timmy Trumpet on the podcast, joked around about it.
Me and Luke made entrances with
and you watch them, you watch them celebrate. I still like to do it every once in a while. But you're watching them all celebrate on the field. It's a cool moment for the World Baseball Classic. I'm not saying I'm getting swept up in World Baseball Classic fever. I'm definitely not. But that was a cooler moment. And then to see him get hurt and taken off on a wheelchair before it was all done. And today it comes out, torn tendon, likely out for the season. Just signed $100 million. Thank goodness he signed the $100 million deal.
Yeah.
Well, for him, yeah.
For him, yeah, not for the Mets. For him, thank goodness he didn't. It's not like he's not going to get the money.
Mets going to Met, That's how that goes.
But it started right away on Twitter, all these people saying, this is why you don't want to play the World Baseball Classic. I thought it was – I can see how that's an early reaction to it, but, I mean, you can't blame the World Baseball Classic. The guy got hurt celebrating. Granted, he would not have been celebrating a Cactus League win. But you know what? He could have been washing his dishes and cut his finger like Quintana did too. So what's the difference?
Or putting his pants on like Brandon Morrow.
Or if he just got hurt playing in the game. Now, it was a little different because he was celebrating.
Yeah. Or jumping over the fence like Ryan Dempster.
Yeah.
He could have been dancing in a bar afterwards. It wouldn't have been any different.
How many dumb ways have you hurt yourself? Almost all the dumb ways
I did the pulling up my pants and throwing out my back thing before. I thought it was very dumb when I heard it. Who was it? Was it Morrow that got hurt that way? And then it happened to me. I'm like, okay.
This is how this goes down.
And I'm not even as old as he was.
But the flip side is what, Cody?
Well,
which I understand this too.
The flip side is like the way I think of it when it happens. Like if he played for the Cubs, I would be probably as irrationally angry as Mets fans were last night. And I'm sorry, I care about the Cubs more than I do anything about the World Baseball Classic. I just do. I'm sorry. Like that. You get the World Baseball Classic for 2 weeks. You get the Cubs for 162 games. And that's just how I feel about it. I think that the team that he's actually being paid to play for, I think it matters. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be playing in the World Baseball Classic. I'm not saying that they should not have it or whatever. All I'm saying is that is the risk of playing in it is an injury. And I know it was a freak accident. It didn't happen in the game because someone tweeted at me last night, well, how would you feel if it would have been Seiya Suzuki? Well, Seiya Suzuki didn't even get hurt in a game. It just kind of came out of nowhere.
What's the difference? Either way, he's hurt.
Right. Yeah. Either way, he's hurt. I'm not saying that they shouldn't play in it. All I'm saying is that it's a risk, and if he did play for the Cubs, I would be irrationally angry about it because he's one of the highest paid players in the league. And, I know having a closer doesn't necessarily mean that, or losing your closer doesn't necessarily mean it's going to completely ruin your season. But if the Mets start blowing games early in the year, in the 9th inning, you're going to look back to it and you're like, well, shit. So I don't necessarily blame Mets fans for being like angry about it. It's more of just like, it just sucks because to me, I just think that MLB is, if not more important than WBC, it's as important as the WBC.
I would have been a lot madder if they would have, let's say, made him pitch 3 innings or something like that, or overused him.
Yes,
or blew his arm out.
Way of being angry.
Then I would blame the WBC. Okay, this is not something that these guys should be participating in if they're going to get overused. This is not the playoffs
and they're not
where you would try to do that. Yeah, they're not doing that. So it is really more of a freak accident. But I mean, the way I look at it is like, accidents can happen anytime, and it just is. And like you'd be mad and disappointed that you lost your closer, of course. But I don't think you can blame the tournament for something like that happening. No. You can blame the tournament if it's more even gameplay, like guys slide into a base, playing too rough or something. But baseball's rough, man. People get hurt, and so.
Right.
And I'm not telling you to like the World Baseball Classic because, like I said, I'm a little meh about most of it anyway. I went to bed before the USA game was over. Didn't care if they won or not. That's okay. Do it however you want to do it. But I heard Herb saying it on the Sox podcast. Some of it is a little bit American of us because the Korea-Japan game got like 64 million viewers, which is more than World Series games. So it's not a nothing tournament to everybody. It is a nothing tournament to a lot of people in the United States. Yes, it is, because we have the whole baseball season to watch most of these really good players then compete on teams that we really care about.
The biggest
Yes, I
league
understand.
for baseball is in America. I mean, it just is.
But
So,
I don't blame the injury thing on him. I understand
No.
why a Cubs fan would be hurt if, like you said, somebody was overused or they got hurt, but he could have been hurt doing the same thing if he was playing baseball in a Cactus League game, and what's the difference? Or in a workout like Seiya was.
Yeah,
This is a little different because he was celebrating and he wouldn't
Can I
celebrate
ask you guys a
Cactus League
question?
game.
What do you think there would be a better time of year to do the World
No.
Baseball
No,
Classic?
we
or
talked
just-
about it
Yesterday,
right?
Scherzer
Like,
wants
there's not
to do
really
mid-season. It's crazy.
Unless you did like a 2-week break in the season, but it wouldn't even be enough
What if
time
you
for
shorten
that,
the
you know?
season?
That season?
Which,
That was
because
my
season's
idea.
long.
Oh,
The-
wow. Hey,
my idea.
now you're talking my language.
Yeah,
That was my
I mean,
idea.
it's a long season as it is. You can play a shorter season. I know they probably want to do that anyway, just to get more playoffs out of the deal. It'll be basketball eventually. It'll be about 20 teams going to the tournament,
Yeah.
the round robin that they call
Someone-
the playoffs.
Yeah.
like.
Someone
What-
tweeted at me
Money.
yesterday. Someone tweeted at me yesterday about maybe doing it after the season and like just do it in warm weather. Whether you had one location in America, in Arizona or California, whatever, and then 2 other locations in warm countries. So like in like November or December.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then
That's tough
but then you're talking about guys that are playing 162, grinding through a long ass season.
I agree.
And then going and continuing to play
No,
high
they have to
level
wait.
baseball.
They
for
have to
3
wait till the
Well,
World
that
Series
too.
guys are done.
That
So
too.
there's a break where what do they do?
Yeah, and then
fair.
you're playing your
You get
another 3
holidays.
weeks. Of,
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, and this is
So,
my
yeah,
stance on the
shorten the
WBC, I like it. I enjoy watching it. That the Puerto Rico DR game yesterday was awesome, and the fact that they changed it to FS2 when it was like in the 9th inning was unbelievable. It pissed me off because I looked and I'm like, what happened to the game? Like I looked away for a sec, looked back, and I had to go find the game. But that's besides the point. I think the tournament's awesome, and the way I look at it is before the WBC, these players who are coming from all over the world didn't have a World Cup of baseball. The soccer has a World Cup, but it's been around since 1930, I think, was the first World Cup. That's why it's so huge in the world, is because, you know what, it has like a 75-year head start on the WBC. Now players from Venezuela, from Japan, like they all have this, right? That they can compete against the best players from other countries around the world. And that's why it means so much to those guys to represent, even if it's not their birth country, it's a place their parents are from, or their family came from. That's why it's so important. Like Matt Mervis isn't from Israel, but he's Jewish. I talked to him for a second about it. He was very happy and proud to be representing it because that's his family, right? That's where he came from. Same with the rest of these guys. Like Marcus Stroman was Team USA, but his mom's Puerto Rican, so he was proud to represent Puerto Rico for her.
Take that, Keith Olbermann.
So all
it up.
that said is the way I look at it is it means a lot to these players, and for people to be calling it meaningless exhibition, it's fake. Like, shut up. It's not. It's
Rude
sure.
Herrera.
It doesn't mean anything when it goes to the World Series, but it means a lot more to these players than it does to you watching from your couch. It does.
I love it.
Same with the World Cup. The World Cup, if we're being honest, doesn't mean anything because these guys
don't
are
like
playing.
soccer,
These
but
guys
that's
are
another
playing in their different leagues and whatever.
Well, some of these teams like Great Britain, they're getting a few $100,000 just for qualifying, and so that that's life-changing money for their baseball programs. And if you're trying to grow, like the MLB says they are trying to grow to a worldwide product, like taking the Cubs and Cardinals to London and playing games down in Puerto Rico and Iran Bidhorn Stadium, all over Mexico City, I think they did. So if you want to do that, if you want to expand your sport, because that's the big complaint, it's on the decline. Well, then you got to do things like this World Baseball Classic and get the world into it.
Exactly.
And
it's like an MLB sanctioned event. I'm pretty sure it's like they're partners with this. Like the whole thing is it's still an MLB event, and
feels
this
begrudging. They feel
Right,
like
yeah.
begrudging partners
But-
to me. Like
so
just
I-
the vibe, of it.
Again,
I don't know that whole narrative that this is a fake tournament and get rid of it, like, it's stupid. Give it 75 years, and hopefully hopefully the WBC is the level then as the World Cup is now. It could be. You don't know. It's only 16, 17 years old.
Again, my perspective on it is that I just feel like it's okay for Mets fans to be pissed off. And a lot of people were like on social media at least, it felt like people were going back and forth with like telling people that you shouldn't be upset that he wouldn't play in this. I'm telling you that it's okay to be upset, but also realize that it is that the tournament does mean something, but there is risk whenever teams let guys go. And all I will say is if star players start racking up injuries in this, whether it's through the game or post-celebration, I do think teams might actually start caring a little bit more. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Shake your head all you want, Reed Herrera.
No.
All I'm saying is that if injuries do rack up, not saying it's going to, but if they do, I do think that teams would start to care a little bit more.
There were some
I mean,
teams
Canario
that said no.
Canario had a horrible injury in the Dominican Winter League. I don't think the Cubs are going to stop letting players go play for that.
Well, but I said star players. I said star
Still,
players.
it's the
If
same-
The
if
Cubs
half
told
of
Trey
team-
Mancini
if half
not
of
to
Team
go.
USA gets
Yeah.
hurt,
I think it was more
the
his
league is going to be
decision.
upset.
I
I
was
think
more
they
his decision.
suggested it though. Like he said he was going to do
But
it,
if
and then
he
they were
wanted
like,
to play, he would have played.
"You need to." He could have, but they were like, "You need to get acclimated with our system."
No, that
our
was
stuff, right?
him saying it. He said that he when he signed, he realized that he wanted to be at spring training because of all that. Like he wanted to get acclimated, new team, new teammates, all that stuff.
I'll defend Cody to this distance. First of all, I think it's irrational the part about injuries because they could happen anywhere. I will say this: you would put that theory to test if Shohei Ohtani were on the Cubs next time around, and he went to the World Baseball Classic and got hurt. I don't care if he sneezed and got hurt. If he was in somewhere other than Mesa, Arizona, and Shohei got hurt and was going to miss the season, then we would test how much everybody loves it.
At least
I
we
don't
would
know.
have had
And
3 years.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the World Baseball Classic's fault. I'm just saying the irrational
the
Cubs fan would be angry.
Yeah,
Again,
the way I look at it, this is kind of going off that, but it's like I kind of compare it to Suzuki. Like you mentioned the oblique thing that happened just during camp, right?
Yeah.
Had it been 2 weeks in the future at World Baseball Classic, would it have been any different? Like people probably would have been outraged.
Well,
at
he
the
wouldn't
World
have been
Baseball
celebrating on the mound.
Yeah.
What?
He was
Well-
celebrating on the mound when he got
Well,
hurt.
what
we
I'm
will
saying
never
is-
cry as bad
That's
as
the
Met
rare-
fans, and that is
Yes.
and that is the truth too. Like those guys just cry about everything. Like they could win the World Series, they'll still be crying.
I would let
understand.
any player that wanted to play.
I understand the point
I would.
of if it happens to your team, like if you're upset, I wouldn't blame you because you'd probably be pissed that your favorite player, your top player got hurt. But a lot of the things, and I saw some guy from Barstool saying, I hope 29 other teams' top player gets injured in the World Baseball Classic.
Well, that's crazy.
And I'm like,
Oh,
you're
yeah, KFC
shut the
was
hell
on
up,
that.
man.
Paul George broke his leg playing for Team USA in
And
basketball.
FIBA wasn't even the Olympics. I don't
Right?
think it was like a FIBA tournament.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
just go
But he
through
was
it.
just-
So I mean, I get it, but I'm not saying that it's the World Baseball Classic's fault. I'm just saying it's okay to be pissed, and people were like yelling at people for being pissed about it. It's like if
Well,
the
you can
Cubs'
be-
best player got hurt in the World Baseball Classic, I'm gonna be pissed about it. Sorry.
Yeah, but to be pissed at the tournament as
Yes.
opposed to
Yeah.
just to be
Just
disappointed.
Generally
Angry
mad.
at the injury.
Yeah, generally mad
is
makes
okay.
sense, but to like call for the ending of the World Baseball Classic
No,
doesn't
I'm
make
not-
any
I'm not
sense to
calling
me.
for that.
Then we
We all
We're
agree
in
on.
agreement.
We've all settled
could
in a
stay.
happy place. We can all
The
agree that
internet's so
Ryan was
wild,
wrong
man.
for cutting me off in traffic, and
I
we can all
disagree.
agree the World Baseball Classic
Well, again,
should continue.
Rude
to exist.
Herrera. What
I
do you
didn't do
expect?
anything illegal. I didn't do anything illegal. I don't think.
Chicago, we've already got you covered for the best sports coverage for your favorite teams. Now we want you to get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Foco has you covered from Soldier Field to the living room, north side, south side. Hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Bright hoodies like the one that San Ranto is wearing over there. Get decked out like tomorrow with the apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles, Foco. If you're looking for that perfect gift for the football fan in your life, Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight the Lake Michigan breeze or to get you ready for opening day. Check out Foco.com. Click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Cody, right before you get to DraftKings, we got a super chat from our guy Fernando, and I didn't want to mention hashtag Mike Dubs.
44 days left.
44 days left. WBC haters are mad that other countries have caught up and beat a team full of Major League Baseball players. It's not a given Team USA would win anymore. Go USA. Might be true. Baseball's a weird sport. They almost didn't qualify for the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also had a cupcake round, too. I mean, they just, they're playing some of the teams that barely got into it, Meanwhile, you look at
Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and Dominican are all in the same
Yeah. They made
group.
Cuba fly all the way to Japan to play,
Yeah.
And
Dominican Republic's failed to qualify 2 times in a row, even though they'd be probably the favorite. Anyways, I'm sorry. Off track.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the official betting partner of CHGO in All City. Danny, I know you're really, really, really excited about the DraftKings Sportsbook coming to Wrigley Field.
Cha-ching.
I'm
I
sure
can't wait.
I know you really, really can't wait. I can't wait. NCAA tournament is going on right now. Just hit the under on Maryland and West Virginia. God bless the Big 12 and the Big 10. NBA no sweat same game parlays. MLB bets. I already bet the Cubs to win the division and to make the playoffs because I'm just a sicko. So, there's all kinds of things you can do on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and sign up with the code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 and bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
People that use DraftKings to bet on West Virginia are probably mad because they just missed a buzzer beater 3 to win it. Just missed it.
I did tell Sean. Sean took West Virginia. I told him to take the
Of course
under.
he did.
It was the safe play. And
Of course he did.
We're 1-0. I'm 1-0. Or
Who did they
no,
play?
I'm 4-4 in the NCAA tournament total, but 1-0 today.
I think I had West
It was
Virginia.
Maryland. It was Maryland and West
Oh,
Virginia.
yeah, I took West Virginia.
It's not
But I don't get any money.
you're
on
going
it.
to win.
Exactly.
Rachel says, not sure I didn't do anything illegal is the defense you think it is, Ryan. Ha, ha, ha.
It's a good
tried
defense.
that
Somebody also accused Cody of taking roids, but that's another podcast. All right, so the great
My arms-
Danny Rockett
I'm wearing
is here.
a shirt under my sweatshirt. Like I don't know.
Do you look bigger?
I do yell a little bit, so I get what she's
Well,
saying.
it's a different seat. It's a different angle of you, too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
thrown everything off.
Big of us to let Danny sit on the end today.
We put Danny in a special chair
Feel
because
very
he
honored.
brought his guitar, and he has, first of all, he's a musical genius. So he brought his guitar with, and he thought of he's a parody king, and he's got a parody song for us. He has to plug in, right?
Yeah, I gotta plug in,
You're going to plug
so-
in. All right. We'll chat through this. We'll fill a little time. So he's got his guitar with us.
Barbara
And-
wanted us to mention Caleb Killian's play yesterday.
Caleb Killian.
The game got rained out, so there wasn't much to go on.
Yeah.
His first inning was
David
4
Ross was
pitches.
impressed. He says the command's been better, although he did have 2 walks in 3 innings.
Yeah, I mean the first inning was 4 pitches. So
Yeah.
it's like that. You can't really take anything from that. And when did they get rained out after like the 3rd or 4th inning, something like that? Like
Yeah, I think he was.
They didn't make it
3
that
innings
far.
is what he finished.
but he was definitely working on his PFPs to make that catch.
Yes,
he was working.
that
on
was
his
a nice
PFPs.
catch. It was.
And that was kind of the knock on Killian last year because I looked up his stats a little bit ago that his ERA was in like the 1s and 2s when he was with San Francisco. It was and then he gets to the Cubs. All of a sudden he's walking everybody. He's like he's got an ERA in the 4s and 5s. But I guess there was something going on with him physically and something wasn't right with him as far as the the mechanics were going on. He's been
Was it
better.
the stride? Is that what it was, Ryan? That he said it was? The stride was off.
Yeah, his stride had. I think he said he was landing a little more open than he usually
Open,
did.
that's what-
Yeah,
And
because
and then
command
it-
was supposed to be something he was actually really
yeah.
good at.
and it had come
when
off
they
like a
traded for him.
knee issue that something that might have tied into it too. So
Yeah,
I think that
I
was
mean-
the main thing was trying to.
He certainly
that.
looks the part, though, doesn't he? Like big, tall, looks like a giant whip. It's just like,
That's how I'm described often.
I mean, no, he was one of the guys that I was the most excited about when the trades
Yeah.
happened. Now, because when I looked him up, I was like, oh, this guy could maybe be an ace. Like he could develop into this, and then. Then in
He was
practice, it
definitely
didn't
the
happen.
easiest one to get on board for because he was the one that you thought you'd see sooner.
Yeah, and then it did,
Yeah.
and then you see the Wisniewskis of the world, and surprise, surprise, Javier Assad coming out of the blue. Like, and I'm like, well, maybe Killian's behind those guys. At least it has been in practice.
You mean the ass man?
The ass
Yeah,
man.
the ass man. Yeah. Who was super impressive in the WBC?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sunday
Good
against the
experience.
USA.
To spin zone like anyone who's
Angry.
the angry about the WBC. I do think it's great for like minor leaguers who are
Owen Casey.
trying to get some experience. Owen Casey's a
Prime
great example.
Best pitching he probably has ever faced in
Assad.
his life and did well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there it is.
All right, all
All right,
got
I'm
for
plugged
us?
in. So, all right. So
This
is
is the
a
musical segment of the CHGO
You got my
Cubs
guitar?
podcast.
So
right.
you know this. We sing this one at Wrigley all the time. You know, I put new words to it for you guys. So you know, it's all about CHGO. So.
Okay, all right.
Awesome.
Podcast stream in the afternoon. It's a podcast. Corey, Brendan, and Luke. It's a podcast. Cody really likes shoes. Beat writer Ryan Herrera. Podcast. A show everyone loves. Podcast. They're talking about the Cubs. Podcast. In the chat is Mike Dubs. They've even got Danny Rockett. Hey, that's me. It's fun to be on the CHGO. CHGO. Watching every game at home or on the road. We are partying on CHGO. CHGO. It's fun to be on the CHGO. Got a YouTube stream and a Facebook field. They're the Cub fans at Wrigley Field. Podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
Danny Rockett. Danny
What a moment.
Rockett. What a moment.
What a moment.
He vaulted
You
himself
guys
into the
just-
top
you know,
5 moments in podcast history.
Easily.
I wrote the theme song for you had the Club 400 on the show. Stuart
Yeah.
McVicker. I wrote his theme song too. I've written a few themes. Like, oh, Danny, write us a theme song. All right, I'll knock you out a theme song. So I got to do one for you guys.
That's-
This one's already used.
This is the new like tweet video for like when the show is about to
That's
start.
right.
Instead of we'll use Jeremiah Paparaki
you
every
got
now and then.
multiple. You
Yeah,
just
now we have
mix them
multiple.
together.
So every time we promote that the show's going to start, we have to tweet
Right.
this
Hell
now.
Jeremiah
Make a
and I'll
video
do a
for it.
duet or something.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
That was awesome,
We
man.
need to build a music video for it now.
There you go.
Us in
Yeah.
swimwear,
That was awesome.
walking on
Yeah,
the beach,
I saw you
that
doing
type of thing.
I was having trouble. I was thinking about it. What is
Oh,
it?
I got the old part perfectly.
I don't know how to do
G's
it.
weird.
G
Oh,
is kind of
I was
like
too
this,
busy
right?
like
Yeah.
I was too busy recording it on my own phone.
I can't even
I don't know how to do an H.
Cody was talking.
G. Yeah.
See, like this.
Well, and it
H.
would be from my. I'd have to be the C,
Yeah.
like Pac-Man.
There you go.
I guess I would have just put my
Ryan
arms
would be
up.
an H. Would be an H.
That'd
You'd be
be
the
the
G.
I'm telling you, I don't know
and
how to
Danny
I'll
would
do
be the
O.
O.
I'm a simple man.
Yeah, Danny would be the O. Well, first of all, I've already decided we will play the show out with that again. So don't let the guitar go too far away.
no,
Like, I think we'll.
I just
we'll play
unplugged it,
out.
but it's easily plugged back in.
We'll get it.
Captain Tater Tot says if this isn't your song your intro song going forward, you're doing it wrong. I mean, he might.
The village people might have some problems with that. They might be coming for their for their resids. You know what I mean?
Stu said on the podcast when he was with us last week that he believes when he raises $1 million for Club 400, he thinks that he's got Eddie Vedder lined up. Eddie has agreed to come play the big party. Now, my question would be what's it going to be like when he realizes that you're playing next to him?
Yeah, well, he
Eddie
can
Vedder's
open
gonna
up
be
for me.
pretty
That's
excited.
not a problem. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. No.
Right.
No, Eddie's
he'd
an
be the
awesome
opener.
guy. He hangs out like over at Ballhawk Corner, like right by the bleachers. Like he's come out there a bunch. Bleacher Jeff was playing wiffle ball with him one night.
Of course not.
Yeah, just like he's just like a dude, and he doesn't really want to be too special about anything. He doesn't big time anybody, So he seems like a good guy. But no, Eddie's great. I mean, he's a real fan too. Yeah. He really loves it. But Stu can if Stu can get Javi out to his house, he could get Eddie Vedder. You know what I mean? Like, I know
That's true.
Yeah, Javi's a big rock star in my book. Anyway, it's why it's what this hat's all about.
How long did it take you to write that?
I don't know, 15 minutes, something like that.
That's
you know,
unbelievable.
Maybe
15
not.
minutes.
I changed a couple lines. I had the line about your shoes and liking shoes, and then before I think I just had Cody Del Mendo's shoes, but I was like really like shoes is a better line, so I changed that. Then anyway, but
if you'll leave that, we would like to frame that. And
No,
put it
you
on
can keep it-
That'll go on the set in a frame for a show
absolutely.
at least once a week.
No,
That way.
it's all you.
It's the theme song to the CHGO Cubs podcast.
Or we can just like tape it down here so we always have the lyrics when we sit. When we need
And
to
we'll
see
just
it.
start singing it.
Yeah. People are like, how do they remember all this?
After every Cubs win, we'll just sing
And
it.
you guys, anytime you guys need a parody song, I'm your man. I'll record it, send it in, come on down, sing it for you live, whatever you need. I love
That's
it.
good, man.
I got 3 points on who you got for Esteban Quiros being picked as player of the game once. That's just an idea.
What? Where'd that come from?
we do player of the game.
Yeah, I know.
And I
Who you
picked
got?
Esteban Quiros once. That was a 3-pointer. You ever heard of something that crazy?
He gave himself 3 points.
He gave himself 3
Gave
points. He
myself
didn't
3
really
points
earn
because
them.
who else is going to out of nowhere be like, I'll take Quiros?
I heard you guys arguing about that on the show the other day, and I was about the point discrepancies of stuff.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
What's your favorite parody song that you've written about the Cubs?
Oh, man, it's like, yeah, that's really just tough because I really have written a lot. I used to write over on Bleed Cubby Blue, the website with
SB
Al
Nation.
Yella and
Yeah.
SB Nation.
Yeah.
And so I used to do a lot over there. And like during that, 15, 16, 17, I was writing stuff all the time. And I was like, I was always doing stuff. The one that really took off that people really loved was the most recent one anyway, that actually made it into a newspaper in Japan, was Seiya, which I did the Outcast song, Seiya, Seiya, and I did that song, and people went nuts for it. Like, we started singing it to some Japanese reporter, and she knew about it already because it had already been in Japan. And I was like, wow, we made it. Like, I guess I could go tour Japan now. And then Hayward was real big. That's Hey Jude parody. But you know what it is? If people already like the song,
Yeah.
that's key. Because
Yeah.
people suggest parodies to me all the time. I'm like, nobody knows that song. It doesn't make a good parody. You got to do. It's like, no, it's this Meat Puppet song. I'm like, nobody knows the Meat Puppets. Like, I might know the Meat Puppets. Luke might know the Meat Puppets because we're old. But
One of my favorites is No Fighting in the Bleachers.
yeah, well, that's an original.
Fighting in the
But
Bleachers.
it's kind of an original. It's to the tune of "To Go Tell It on the Mountain." Technically,
You want to play that real quick?
Oh, sure, yeah. I'll play
Yeah,
that
no
one.
fighting the bleachers. Why not? I mean, we got you here.
Yeah.
No fighting the bleachers.
We got a
And you
cop.
also did the Correa one, didn't you? Do Correa? Trying to get Correa here around
Oh
Christmas
yeah,
time.
yeah. Christmas time we did
The first time he was a free agent.
Gloria.
Yeah.
the
Correa.
Chelsea Steo, the
Yeah.
Christmas song.
Yeah.
Gloria.
But no fighting in the bleachers,
Wasn't
first
my
of all, is a
pick,
great
but
rule.
that's okay.
In fact, I remember the biggest brawl that we saw from the bleachers last year. I think
shoes
you were
flew
involved
off,
in
right?
trying to break it up.
I mean,
Someone's shoes.
are you talking about when the guy went tumbling backwards? And,
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Snafu.
I actually put out a video of that guy going. I put the whole video in reverse.
Oh, I think I remember saying that.
Crawley actually took that video.
Oh,
Crawley
yes.
took the
Of
video.
course he did.
Yes.
Probably might have started it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lover, not a fighter. But so I took that thing and I just made a video of him going, "Whoop," and it's way funnier in reverse,
Yeah.
But the original No Fighting in the Bleachers guy, I took that video.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was a bad fight. It had a racial element to it. It was pretty ugly. It was nasty. But so what happened was with this tune is, so I'm going to L.A. the next day, and I'm staying with my friend Johnny, and the tweet blows up. 30,000 views, 40,000 views, 50,000 views. It's making the news. It's in Indiana. It turns out the guy was a kicker for Northwestern or Northern University or something. So he's kicked off the team.
Oh,
Everybody's
geez.
mad. I'm getting it. I'm getting people calling me, "Hey, can we use this footage? Can we use this footage?" I'm like, "Yeah, put them on. I don't care. It's his fault for getting in the scrape. So
Fair.
yeah. So anyway, so I put it all out there, and I'm sitting on my at my friend's house. He's got a piano, so I sit down and I just sing. There's no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? To the tune of "Go Tell It on the Mountain," and then everybody loved it. So So we just rocked it up a little bit more. But I don't have to play the whole thing, but it's like, there is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach ya? There is no fighting in the bleachers, so take that shit outside. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach ya? There is no fighting in the bleachers, so take that shit outside. You can get a suntan drink until you're drunk and rooting for the Cubs and having lots of fun and acting like a punk and watch him hit and run and show him all your love and celebrate and suffering. But you cannot fight, don't care who you don't like. Let's all have fun tonight. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach ya? There is no fighting in the bleachers, so take that shit outside.
That had a little.
That's half the song anyway.
That had a little Green Day to it. I'd sound a little Green Day-esque.
That was my buddy who I also went to Hersey High School with. I played him that song, and he goes, okay, Billy Joe. Whatever. Yeah, I ripped it off of an old Spiritual and the Green Day, but good artist steal.
Rachel says she was at that fight, by the way, that we were talking about.
one.
That was her
Yeah, I
first
do remember
Wrigley
that.
experience was the fight in the bleachers. I
remember.
forgot about that.
Man, Rachel.
What a day. That like stacks up with almost with May 17th, the day Del Metrics was born.
The day Del Metrics was born.
Yeah.
It's an all-time day.
That was a big day.
All-time day.
Brent in the live chat on YouTube wants to know, is there a Rocket bump comparable to a Yankovic bump? Weird Al Yankovic.
A bump?
I don't know.
Like a ratings increase. Like
on like the song
bumped up.
itself?
I'm assuming like a song gets played, then you remake it with something else, and then the original song now gets played more.
I don't know.
For instance, would YMCA get a huge boost? I don't know if
Or
that's
you have
true
to
or not.
ask Village People to see if
Right.
this show put them on the map finally.
Yeah. To a brand new audience.
Very good. And the band, again, is called Bleacher
Bum Band. Yeah, it's got Bleacher Jeff. We got a brand new drummer who I'm calling Tony Two Times. And we also got my childhood friend who went to Crystal Lake High School, actually.
Right.
And it's got Jarrett. He's our bass player. But the new drummer is freaking awesome. So I'm really excited for opening day because it's the best we've sounded. So I'm super excited. It's going to be such a fun. We got a new CD coming out too on. I think we're going to do it on June the 17th, if that's the Saturday there, over at Nisei Lounge. We're going to do a big CD release party. Got new songs called like The Cubs of '69, Steve Garvey's Hairy Arms. Damn Steve Bartman,
Arms.
it was all his fault. Like, that's a good one. That's another punk one. So it's like this one like runs the gamut of like funk to punk to like little country. Oh, I got a song. Do you remember the game? I think it was last year. The game in which Bleacher Jeff was it was raining.
seat.
Somebody
the
told his
seat.
seat.
Somebody stole his
Yeah, I
seat.
remember that.
We talked about it for
Yeah,
like
we
20
talked
minutes
about
on the
it.
show.
I love,
So I wrote
Don't
a
get me started
song
here.
called "The Ballad of Poncho Boy," and it's all about the guy in his little poncho sitting in the front seat and not leaving because he sat there for 5 hours straight in the rain.
Didn't leave.
Yeah, and just he would not leave. He didn't get up to pee or get a beer or a chicken sandwich or nothing. And he just sat there as Jeff stood above him, just being like, "Bro, just let me sit there."
It's on principle. On principle,
so
he didn't leave.
I wrote a song called "The Ballad of Poncho Boy." That'll be on this next album too. So it's a lot of fun. Because
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
I got to give the guy some props for
5
sitting
hours in the
there.
rain.
Yeah, all day. That's the chorus, Oh, he sat there in the rain for 7 hours straight. He sat right through the weather that had made the game delayed. Like it's gonna be
That's good.
It's gonna be a banger. I can't
That
wait.
was like one of the more like talked about stories related to the Cubs last year.
Related
It
to
really
the
was, which says more about the Cubs.
Yeah,
It says a lot
yeah,
about
yeah.
Bleacher Jeff.
Yeah.
But no, it was funny, and
good.
it's like, and then it gets into the rules of the bleachers. It's like, oh, you're not supposed to save seats, but people do, and you're not. There are certain protocols. But the thing, I don't know if you guys know this, but 2 weeks prior, in the bleachers, Jeff had been saving seats, and the guy wanted the seats. He said, "No, I'm saving these for my friends, and they're coming, and I'm here. We are not allowed to save seats." So he got mad about it. So he plotted for 2 weeks straight
Oh, this
to
is the
I'm
kinda
gonna go
crazy
back
I'm
to this
into.
game. It's this dude from Iowa, and he comes back to the game, and he runs like a bat out of hell up to Jeff's seats. And there's plenty of seats that you could have at
Sure.
that point 2 hours before the ball game, but he wanted those particular seats, and he went and took them. And now when that happens, Jeff will go up there and be like, I'll buy you a couple beers. If you let me, I sit here every day. Like, I'm friends with Ian Happ. Like, just let me sit here. Then usually people are like, oh, a couple beers, that's like $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You'll take it. So, but not this guy.
Was this guy's name
there
Larry
in his poncho.
David? Was it Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm? It sounds like a
I don't know
Curb
what was under
episode.
that poncho, but it was, or who was under. But I feel more bad for his wife or girlfriend that was sitting there with him because
In the
made her
rain?
do it too.
I have a new respect for this guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he
That's why I
held
wrote
that
him a
grudge
song.
for 2 weeks
Yeah.
and then
Vengeful.
executed his plan
This is
Vengeful
kind of
people.
the
harmlessly.
Like this, we
Beautiful.
didn't really fully know the story. I just remember when we talked about it, I was like, because the Cubs weren't good, and we're like, well, there's a story on Cubs Twitter today talking about people like hoarding seats and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to understand. Like,
It was raining. There was nobody even there.
Yeah.
Like, you could have had 1 million seats. You could have gone in box seats if you wanted to. You could have sat right behind the Cubs dugout by sneaking past the usher. But, like,
Right.
no, I want that dude's seat.
I remember we went all in depth about, it's different here, guys. Like,
That's right, we did.
yeah. And so now this is kind of like news to me, at least, like, because I never really knew the entire story. I just knew like people were going back and forth about how you don't like about people not being able to save seats or
Oh, there were
whatever.
Mets fans involved at a point. Like, and Jeff had to block a bunch of people. And, it was a mess. And I told him, because my Thai guy was coming in there too. And I was like, it's like, you guys, you never learn. Just shut up. Like, just put it down for like 2 days and it'll all be over.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you got to do. But, they were having fun too, I think.
The blueprint you just put out there now. If you want free beers at Wrigley, take Bleacher Jeff's
Yeah,
seat
pretty
when you
much.
get to the bleachers. That's
what
how
I
you get
do.
it done. That's what I do. Hey, I had a guy on Twitter, Ron, ask, would you take Ian Happ for Matt Chapman at the trade deadline? Because the Blue Jays have a top prospect coming up. He's a 29, third baseman.
What's Chapman's contract and all that stuff?
He's gonna be a free agent after.
But we
next
got Nick
year.
Madrigal. Sorry, this is a
Corey's probably watching the show right now.
Yeah.
He was in the chat, and everyone knows how Corey feels about Net Madrigal.
Yeah.
I mean,
So.
don't we have like 75 McBoat-Strabanagles? Or like, we got all the guys.
Yeah.
We got Bodie.
Yeah.
We got McKinstry, who had 2 hits last night that got erased because of the rain. You got
Still counting our heart, though.
Yeah, still counting our heart.
Madrigal. You got Morel could play it.
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah, I forget about the actual third baseman we have. He hasn't been out there too much, has he?
Not as much. Well, I think they know what they have, right?
Yeah.
So you might as well see what the other
Yeah,
guys.
I think he may be also in the right field mix. Since
and-
Suzuki's not going to be ready for opening day, depending on when he's healthy, obviously. But I think he's part of that mix.
Well, Ryan thinks Morel's going to start in AAA now.
Yeah. Which is
don't
sad
know.
because he's like my favorite, but,
He's an easy fan favorite.
Yeah. He's super nice. He came and saw Bleacher Bump Band. He came down to Nisei Lounge and was hanging out.
Really?
And just, totally cool dude. One night he was, Sarah Sanchez, who writes on Bleed Cubby Blue. I walked her home to her apartment, and Morel actually lives right by there. So he comes home, he's on his scooter. He just sat there and talked with us for a little bit, just like, that's why I'm like, not him. Don't send him down.
Yeah.
Like, I know it has nothing to do with baseball reasons, but the guy's cool,
Yeah.
Barb says, don't forget about Rios. Well, that is true.
and yeah, Rios too.
corner guy, corner infield.
I do want to tell you, first of all, new lights at Wrigley Field this year. You're going to notice the difference. And the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. ComEd offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, public sector customers of all sizes in our territory. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. Learn about network lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor, outdoor lighting, and network lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than ever before. Visit ComEd.com/poweringbiz right now to start saving money and energy. And to start a project, contact them at 1-855-433-2700. For more information, email businessee@comed.com or publicsectoree@comed.com. And fantasy season is almost here too, Ryan.
I was going to say, if you sit in Bleacher Jeff's seat, you probably will have a really good view of the new lights that they put in at Wrigley if they're powered by ComEd. But, so it's baseball season. We're talking about RotoWire. Get your latest fantasy baseball news from RotoWire, a pioneer of fantasy sports for over 25 years. Cheat sheets, custom player rankings fit all leagues, like rotisserie points, 10 category, 30 category, etc. Let their experts analyze all the wild baseball stats for you. If you don't know what WRC Plus is, barrel rate, sleepers, they can do it for you. Mock drafts galore, ask the expert function, premium draft, fantasy draft kits, custom start/sit, add drop, trade advice, lineup optimizers, it's all included. You get access to fantasy, DFS, daily fantasy sports, and sports betting articles. And it's not just baseball. You get fantasy advice on everything from golf to soccer to NASCAR to the XFL, and the list goes on and on. The main thing is, for a limited time, RotoWire is offering a free 2-day trial to their listeners. Just go to rotowire.com/CHGO to register. No commitment. They are so confident that you'll like their product and want to invest in a subscription plan that they don't even ask for a credit card up front. So take a peek behind the paywall, and when the trial is done, you can decide if a RotoWire package is right for you.
Danny, you ever do you do fantasy baseball?
Nah, man, Cubs take up all my time. Just doing
that's what I
Son
said.
Ranto show
But then we had Eric on from RotoWire, and he was like, well, there's different types of leagues. You can do just like fantasy football and do one where you only set your lineup once a week.
Yeah, my
So
base
now I'm
player's in
thinking about
just an NL league. So they don't even deal with AL. So he's like,
like
that's
that
fine
too.
because I watch the Cubs and that's more who they play.
Fair enough.
Now that's not the case. It still is a little bit, but not as much. No, I never got into the fantasy thing. It's just like it seems fun. Like everybody's doing it all the time, but it's one more thing to suck my time up out of my life.
Well, when you're writing parody songs 24/7.
you don't
I
know
need that
time.
15 minutes to put out this magic.
Niren, one of our buddies in the chat, who I haven't seen here yet today, by the way.
I've seen him in there.
Mike Dubbs says he's very late, and he's sad to be leaving Arizona, and he also just missed his name being dropped in a parody song by Danny Rockett.
You better go back and listen.
Earlier by me, because of our agreement, he did the $50 super chat. I now mentioned 50 straight shows. Mike Dubbs is a hero.
Yeah.
Mike Dubbs is a hero.
Thank you,
Mike Dubbs, very
Dubbs.
cool guy. I love that new GIF that he's using all the
Oh,
time.
yeah,
of-
whenever the
flag.
Cubs win.
yeah, it looks like he's in a John Woo film. All of a sudden, he's looking at
I did tell him though that like the running down the street thing it's undefeated.
Classic.
Yeah.
I think
classic.
I think once the season actually starts, he's got to go back to something related to that. I think if he wants to up it one, like going like sprinting down the street with no shirt on and with the flag would be cool. Just because I think that would just be hilarious. But whatever, something related to that will be just fine. But yeah, you're right. Cool dude. Met him last year at Murphy's for the first time.
Yeah,
really nice guy.
super cool guy. Yeah,
Dan-
that's why I put him in the song.
Yeah, it was good.
Friend of the program,
And I
day one.
didn't know, if I had known he was going to be in the song, then I wouldn't have had to put the drop in of Mike Dubbs, but he got a 2-for-1 today. You were
for him.
Danny was telling us before we went on the podcast, we're using special microphones. I didn't realize these are like legit microphones. You claim Michael Jackson
Used this
used the
exact
same type of
Thriller.
microphone?
Yeah,
Not the same microphone,
SM7B,
but same
Shure
brand.
SM7B, and Shure, by the way, local company too, Chicago company.
okay.
So you're buying local with these things, but no, these things got so popular recently, and but that's how they sell it to you at Guitar Center. They're like, well, you got to get this one. Michael Jackson recorded Thriller. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'll be like Michael Jackson. So I got to get this thing. So I've been using one of these for years. Now I might steal this one because like my foam is all coming off. The top is ripped off because I've had it for probably like 9 years or something like that. So, no, great microphone, though.
I wonder if you go back and they're still using the Michael Jackson line. Like, if you go back, like, oh, I need a mic. Like, oh, you should use this one.
If they decided to go with a different artist. Yeah, Sheryl Crow used this.
Well, now everybody's using it. Oh, now all your favorite podcasters use it. This is the mic of
CHGO is
podcasting.
using these mics.
CHGO is using these mics.
They got a USB version of this now, too. Like, man, they're going all out.
That's how far Michael Jackson's popularity has fallen.
Exactly.
Now
Too
the
bad he's not around to
CHGO
see
Cubs
it.
podcast is using it.
Trending up, baby.
And I was trying to tell Danny, this building that we're doing the CHGO Cubs podcast in, and all our CHGO podcasts, has a musical history because Ludacris filmed a music video in this building.
See,
And this was like his office for a while.
I don't know if I ever heard that. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
The leather
apparently.
couch that I almost fall asleep on in about the 7th inning every day.
when it's 19 to 8.
That was here when we got here, and apparently is in the Ludacris video. I don't know
Oh, man.
what it is. but
I wouldn't sit on that too much.
it's got to pull out. It's got to pull out bed. It's got to pull out bed.
I bet it does.
Oh gosh.
oh, man.
Doug says you may not all understand it, but these mics are really spendy.
Yes.
That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Sources say.
Hey, did you see Sportico says that the Cubs' worth as a franchise has gone up? They're now worth $4.69 billion, according to Sportico, fourth most expensive franchise. Revenue up $60 million from 21 to 22. And the amazing part about that, though, is attendance was lower than it has been since, what was it, like 90?
98.
98?
Yeah.
So even with, people always say during the teardowns, don't go to the ballpark because it's going to lead to them finding out that this is serious. Well, people didn't go to the ballpark last year and they made $60 million more than they did the year before.
It's wild.
Huh.
Beer was higher.
They
Beer was a
raised-
lot higher.
They raised
Like
the beer
$14.
prices.
There's like $50,000 cup snakes that I'm chopping down out there. It's
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, and $15 for like a Budweiser. It's like with the tip and the tax and everything. So I think that's where some of that's coming from. The
Food, obviously.
yeah, the premium. They still get the premium tickets. With the clubs and things. And
So you
selling
don't obviously you don't like the wave, but you don't like the cup snake based on
You know what? I'm a Cub snake agnostic. I mean, it's like do I want dip spit all dripping on me and stuff? No. Do I participate in them? No. I do because I chop them. Hey, you can stack them, I can whack them. That's what I say. But it's like it does interfere with people's enjoyment of the game. You're in a blowout. Who cares? It's 10-2. It's the 8th. Like, make your stupid snake. But if it's like 2-1 and it's like this tight moment in the game, like, what are you there to do, really?
Right.
I mean,
I
then
don't want somebody's backwash or spit, like you said, dripping down on me.
Well, that's one of the things is like when Luke's falling asleep on the couch in the summer because it's like a blowout. Then it makes sense to do a cup snake because you need
what am
something
I doing
to do.
here? Yeah.
Right.
the game's over.
That's kind of how I've always felt about it. When people ask me about it, I'm very like, well, the pro of it is you don't see it at any other ballpark in baseball, really, and it brings fans together. Considering, but also like I've ran into way too many drunk people, like they're clearly just there being drunk and not watching the game, and like they can get a little annoying.
Well, it starts fights. Because they're building it, and some guy doesn't want it by him, and all of a sudden he's getting spilled on his nice new jacket or something.
Right.
People dressing.
I just remember like a year or two ago, like when the Cubs finally let fans do it again, because for a while they like banned it, but when they brought it back, there was a lot of discourse related to it on social media, and I don't know. I felt like the discourse was like people were fighting about the wrong thing related to it, in my opinion. But because to me, it's like, well, let people just have their fun, and it's just always been kind of a thing at Wrigley before they like got rid of it for whatever reason. But also at the same time, like be respectful, don't be a dumbass. So yeah.
I don't know. First of all, the whole plastic cup thing bothers me because when I first started going to Cubs games, the smell that made me remind myself that I was at Wrigley Field was some guy smoking a cigarette like 2 rows in front of me, and then the smell of onions coming up the stairs, right? Cigarettes and onions were the smell of Cubs baseball for me, and the sound of Cubs baseball was throughout the game the popping of the paper cups.
Yeah.
You know, some kid that collected
Yeah.
35 paper cups and was just stomping them on one of the ramps over and over and over. And then I became that kid for a while.
We used to have a guy.
And you're mad
That-
at me for cutting it through traffic a little bit?
Yes.
We used to have a guy, and this was I lived in New York for many years, but at the old Shea Stadium, there was a guy that you could go to, and they had paper cups still. This was like in the late 90s, and you'd get your paper cup, and he'd be like, just come on back, I'll fill it up for like $3 or something, like, because they would just count cups,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So that was our scam. We'd go back over there, he'd fill up our cup, and we'd go back there and be dripping out the bottom of the paper cup. This thing on its last legs, we're trying to drink it. So the plastic bothers me just from I mean, that's a lot of plastic to be thrown away.
There's no way. Yeah, if you've ever watched them, I've seen them clean up Wrigley many times. It's so disgusting by the end. Any
Yeah.
ballpark, by the end of the day, they're not recycling the cups.
No.
They're not going through it and be like, well, let's find the plastic cup. It's all just getting shoved.
That's why
in.
we should bring in our own booze and bring it out, you know.
Can you imagine?
I've
Well,
seen
they lose
Bleacher
way
Jeff
too much
bring in his
money.
own Taco Bell before.
Yeah.
They lose way too
Oh
much
yeah,
damn
you can
money,
bring in
yeah.
your own food though. A lot of people don't know
It's like
that.
it's an underrated thing that no one realizes.
Wait, what?
That's how my family did it. We brought a bag with peanut butter sandwiches, and Mom had a thing of water. Like, we brought our own water.
Yeah, and you can still do that as long as you don't take the
Yeah,
top
it has
off.
to be like
Right.
unopened.
Yeah, and it can't be booze. That's the other part.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
All right, it was fun hanging with Danny Rockett. First of all, we want you to come back again because we had a great time.
Anytime.
Bleacher Bum Band opening day is going to be where?
Output Wrigleyville, just a couple blocks, actually just one block really, north on Clark Street, right after the game. So come on over
And,
there, it's free.
After the game.
After the
Okay.
game.
After the game.
And the San Ranto podcast.
Yeah, San Ranto show. We go usually Thursday nights. We have a lot of events throughout the year. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll be talking about it, and you hang out with my merry band of pranksters. You're all welcome.
It was fun. We definitely want to do it again. Hopefully, when we have some of these events around Wrigley, we'll be able to see you there too.
Yeah. Well, why don't you have Bleacher Bum Band come out and rock your event? You
Well,
know.
now you're talking.
Okay.
We'll tear down
Now
the
you're
walls.
talking.
We don't know where yet, but it is kind of around. It's rumored that we might be
rumored.
remote
Around.
live for opening day.
Sources
That's
have
right.
Sources have said.
So
In
pregame,
Wrigleyville,
not
so.
postgame, so we could coexist perfectly in
Yeah,
harmony.
Exactly.
And Barb says maybe
We'll
we
bookend your
bring
time.
sandwiches from the Yum Yum Donut Shop, which I think might be difficult. But
Could be.
all right, you going to play us out, by the way?
Yeah,
I'll get us
sure.
ready. Thank you for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Brendan and Corey have a podcast coming for you on Friday. We'll be back with more live podcasts, of course, 1:20 on Monday. And now we have a theme song thanks to our friend Danny Rockett.
Podcast. Stream in the afternoon. It's a podcast. Corey, Brendan, and Luke. Podcast. Cody really likes shoes. Beat writer Ryan Herrera. Podcast. A show everyone loves. Podcast.